What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. So I had to make this video. What's next? The Ego's What's Next? Mike Alvarado. I already did one for Marquez, so I figured I would even the score and do one with Mike Alvarado. And Mike Alvarado is a very likable fighter just because he puts it all on the line. You know he might get hurt, but you also know he has heart. So anytime a fighter has those attributes, unlike a Victor Ortiz, like a Victor Ortiz, he gets hurt, you know he's gonna quit or give up or get frustrated and rabbit punch or possibly get disqualified. You know what I'm saying? Some crazy shit. But Alvarado's cut from the old school warrior cloth, and you know he comes to bring it. In this video, I'm going to talk about his future. What do I see from him? And I'm going to be candid like I always am with you guys. And as far as Alvarado, as much as I like him as a fighter, I think he's already peaked. And not to say he can't make interesting fights, not to say that he can't give some rounds and have some good close rounds or win rounds against elite level fighters. I just think his moment to become elite and dominant in his division is already gone. When he was undefeated, I was like, okay, this kid has boxing skills. He has heart. It looks like he can take a punch. He can battle adversity. If you watch the British Prescott fight, however, boxers, if you notice, if you ever just look at boxers, some of these boxers look older. Like they look like grown men. They could be like 23, but they look older. They look like 30. You know what I mean? Look about 34. And that's because you grow up fast in boxing. You're battling grown men, getting punched in the face, and actually being disciplined like as a kid, and having to, while others are out partying, drinking, going to house parties, smoking weed or whatever, hookah, whatever the fuck people do nowadays. Their asses in tournaments and state to state competitions and things like that. So you'll notice boxers, a lot of times boxers look older. Another thing is boxers almost age in dog years when they've been in brutal wars like Mike Alvarado has. I can think off the top of my head of a couple. The British Prescott fight, it looked like he was on the way to lose that. He weathered the storm, great fight, and he was able to stop British Prescott, but it was still a war. He still took a lot of punishment. Both Brandon Rios fights, even the one he won, the second one, he took a lot of punishment. Look at the end of the fight when he's talking and shit. His face is just tattered and immediate swelling. He had a lot of leather touch his face. And then the first Brandon Rios fight was the fight of the year type candidate, and he was stopped in that fight. And there's a lot of punches. Marquez, look at the end of his face in the Marquez fight. Just a lot of leather touching him. And then Ruslan Provodnikov, I forgot, I gotta add that. Ruslan before Marquez. And this is a back to back to back. Like, he's not even giving himself any tune-ups. And I made a video about this a while ago. Are some people too prideful or whatever? And it looks good. You're like, oh, Mike Alvarado fights anybody. But sometimes we're human. When you're taking that type of punishment consecutive, I mean, look at Mike Alvarado's last 4 fights. Brandon Rios again, Ruslan Provodnikov, he lost that. Then Juan Manuel Marquez, he lost that. I mean, he's taken a lot of punches, and that's just his last 4. That's not even including British Prescott. That's not even including Mauricio Herrera. The guy has a solid resume of names, and in that, he's dealt with some big punchers. He's dealt with a lot of punches, and to me, I think he's reached that peak. He's started boxing late. I think he's 30, early 30s, and his opportunities and his undefeated, like you see how he went from undefeated to taking back-to-back losses. You know what I'm saying? So I really think he's going to be, and I hate to say this, but I think he's going to be more of a gatekeeper. And I would place him in the same like boat as a Gabe Rosado, a guy like that. Gabe Rosado, he's fun to watch. He's entertaining. If you don't train right, then he could pull the upset. But if there's a fighter who's at the top of their game, training like they're supposed to be training, eating like they're supposed to be eating, and they have a skill set, then I see them beating Alvarado. But again, if you come half-assed, or if you take him for granted, or if you don't have heart, anything like that, he can't beat you. So I would kind of put him in the Gabe Rosado boat where he can make for fun fights. Fans will still want to watch him, but I don't really see him being the top dog in his division or moving up and capturing the title in the new division. I think I mean, you're having problems with guys at 140, even though he's a big dude. Him going up to 147, it's too stacked. There's too much competition. I think Pacquiao blows him out of the water. Mayweather's too good for him. Maidana would crucify him. Sean Porter would annihilate him. It's just too much. Keith Thurman is another person. Keith Thurman would demolish him. I don't really see him ever beating some of those guys. Like I said, you're getting knocked down by a 40-year-old in Marquez, and that's not a disrespect because Marquez has fought nothing like a 40-year-old, and he's a veteran. He has power, and he puts his punches together and he capitalizes on others' mistakes. But I'm just saying, those dudes are troubling you. There's other guys who are probably bigger punchers than Marquez because you fought Marquez at a catchweight. So Sean Porter, Keith Thurman, Marcos Maidana, they've acclimated to the welterweight division. So if Alvarado were to go up, I just don't see him having any chance. I mean, these guys are established welterweight punchers that can hurt you. So that's just my take on him. Fun guy to watch. He's entertaining. I'll watch his next fights. But even if he were to try to avenge some of his losses or even his win, like Brandon Rios, that's a good fight. That's a tough fight. I don't know if he'll beat him in the rematch if Brandon Rios comes with a good game plan with Robert Garcia. And same thing with Ruslan. I don't see him beating Ruslan. I think Ruslan has a piece of his soul now, and he made him quit on a stool in the fashion that we haven't really seen. This is a guy with heart who got hurt in the Marquez fight, and then the very next round dropped Marquez, but Ruslan made him quit. So I would favor Ruslan in a rematch again. And last thing, I don't know if Mike Alvarado really disciplines himself like a fighter to the point where he would ever be elite level. I read about some crazy stuff happening, know people that know people, and I've heard some crazy stories about training camps and getting into trouble and, just drinking, doing stuff like that. And to be a top level fighter, you have to conduct yourself like a top level fighter. Let me know what you guys think. As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video, it's Ego signing off.